What's culture? There are many different definitions of culture, and I, for a moment, considered asking you what would be culture, but let me just tell you how I would like to define culture if we are talking about service design. Right? So I'm not talking about let me say, the appreciation of literature, but I'm talking about if we are designing services for people, then what is culture? Well, I would say culture is the combination of understanding, that was the first step of the previous slide, and emotions, like I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm tired, and behavior and attitudes. So that's culture. Understanding, emotion, behavior, attitude of a group of people who share a location. They are all from Alghero, or a geographical area. They are all Italians, or a language, or a time period. People at the beginning of the 21st century versus people of the 19th century, or who share a profession. All the psychologists, or all the architects, or who share a domain of interest. People who like sports, people who like pop music, or education, or religion, or whatever. So, a group of people who share something like one of these. Well, you find out that such a group of people may systematically be different from other groups. So you could say all the people who are living at Sardinia would have, to a certain extent, different understanding, emotions, and than people who are not living in Sardinia, or people who are living on the mainland of Italy, or people who are living on Corsica, which is another island very close by, but different, right? So, I'm showing here, this is a definition of culture, saying culture is a combination of, as a whole thing, a combination of understanding, feeling, behaving, being attracted to, of people who share some kind of thing, people who in a certain extent are a group. And in that respect, everybody who likes soccer is a group, everybody who lives at Sardinia is a group, everybody who is an architect is a group, but architects could be from many countries, and Sardinians could be different types of professions. You see, so cultures could be many different types of groups. Understood? But in each group you will find that in certain respects understanding or emotions or behavior are the same. And that's characteristic for that group. And the interesting problem is that your clients need to talk, to communicate to different groups who have different cultures. So, I'm making culture very simple in a way. There's books about culture, there's libraries about culture. You will get a theory of culture in one PowerPoint presentation. It's simple, but this is because we are just focusing on service design. Don't think there's nothing else, there's a lot. But I'm focusing on communication. Service design is somebody, your client, providing services to a group, his customers, and the customers are different already. Could be in different cultures, and let me say there are now three main aspects. I'm not saying culture is nothing more than, but in our case, working on service design, the main aspects to consider are language, aesthetics, and values. What's that? For each of the three, for language, for aesthetics, and for values, I will give you a definition, examples, and exercises. Okay? So I'm very systematically now trying to find out what is culture and why does it make sense for us to consider this. Language, first. Once again, in my presentation, not too many colors, but now the color means something, right? The previous one says there are three, and now says this is step one, language. So, maybe first a definition. Again, I could have asked, but let me do it for now myself. Language could be communication artifacts. It's not just talking. It's artifacts developed in a culture and used between people in that culture. That's easy. People in Alghero might even speak Catalan, as far as I could see from the street side. True? It looks like it. So you could say the people in this culture develop a language, and they talk the language in their culture. But also in service design, they have to talk to people in other cultures. Even if your bed and breakfast is in Alghero, the person managing the bed and breakfast needs to talk to people who don't speak Catalan or Italian, but even English and French maybe. So there's, you see, so language could be speech and written text. This could be like Italian. Right? Italian could be Italian spoken, like Selena did, or Italian written, like in your newspaper. But could also be symbols. Symbols are languages. It could be pictographs. The pictograph that you can see in the streets that tell you that in this street there cannot be cars or things. Could be color codes, like traffic signs, like codes in whatever. And could be gestures and postures. If I'm doing this, I'm trying to listen for your answer, right? So this is a language. And if I'm doing this in my culture, it means it's okay. In some cultures you shouldn't use it, by the way, right? So body language is also a language, right? So language is much more than speaking Italian or English, right? Language could be pictures that you find in shops and whatever. So, for instance, if I would like to tell you, be aware of roaming animals. Here are 3 different ways of telling me this. And you can imagine that in the Netherlands, where we have mostly ducks, this makes a lot of sense, and this type of animals, well, the Dutch killed them all many, many years ago, right? So it would now only be in the zoo. And here you might have to be like, well, wherever, maybe in North Scandinavia. You see? So it's different, could I say words, different symbols, pictograms, that have a meaning depending on the culture. So these are, in a way, you could say, this is the meaning. And this is the different ways to graphically present the meaning, depending from the context and the culture. Okay? Okay. Exercise. 15 minutes in your group. So we have 5 groups. So maybe some of you go outside to smoke, but you should also talk. And in 15 minutes I will all draw you back to the room. Find examples of problems based on speech and written text when there are different cultures around. And on problems based on symbols that might mean different things in different cultures. And problems based on pictographs. And problems based on color codes, and problems based on gesture and posture. Right? So, this is an example that you have to work out. And it's 3:45. At 4 sharp, I would like each group to give me a presentation of these 5 examples. Yeah? And the presentation, I won't mark the presentation, we will videotape it for your friends to understand, and just take the best person in the group to present. Okay, clear?
How many examples?
Sorry, question.
How many examples?
Try an interesting and an example that nobody else thought of. 1 for each.
1 for each.
1 for each is fine. Just to show that you understand and to understand from each other that there could be a lot of confusion in language. And that language is more than speaking Italian. Okay. Good luck.